Good morning. I'm Dr. Srinivasulu, Professor of CSC, and today I'm going to discuss about objective-oriented software engineering. Today topic I'm going to discuss about the software development process models. Software development process models. When you want to develop any software, software process models will define the step-by-step process procedure. So software development, it has different steps to develop the process, software develop. So which we call it as a SDLC, Software Development Lifecycle. So there are certain software process models are available. So the most popular process models are Waterfall Model, RAD Model, Spiral Model, and V Model, and Incremental Model, Agile Model, Iterative and Prototype Model. Why we need a process model? So in order to develop a software, a systematic approach, a step-by-step procedure, these process models are going to be helpful. For example, if you take the waterfall model, so basically when you want to develop any software, so we need a customer. There are different stakeholders are going to be involved. The stakeholders are customer. Customer is one of the stakeholder which is going to be provide the software requirements to the development team or to the development team who are involved in the software development lifecycle. So customer requirements are basically customer will provide the requirements in form of two requirements are there. One is functional requirements and non-functional requirements. So in the process of software development lifecycle, what exactly will do? A customer will provide a requirements. Software requirements are nothing but need of the customer. So what they do is the stakeholders will understand the need of the customer, and they will keep in the form of SRS software requirement specification documents. So which software requirement specifications documents are helpful to the stakeholders who are involved in the software development lifecycle, SDLC, software development lifecycle. The first step in SDLC, irrespective of any process model, requirements gathering. What exactly a requirements gathering I will speak about in any process model is. So, as I was mentioning previously, requirements are nothing but need of the customer. Need of the customer. So, customer has some needs. That is going to be translated in forming a natural language. That requirements are gathered by the one of the stakeholder who are involved in the SDLC is nothing but a business analyst. The business analyst. So the prerequisite skills to become an analyst is you should have a strong domain knowledge. What type of domains strong domain knowledge? So strong functional domain knowledge. You have a different domains like healthcare is one domain. Banking, finance is one domain. So, for example, a business analyst who are gather the requirements from the customer, a business analyst should have a strong domain knowledge for gathering the requirements. So, the job of the business analyst, he gather the requirements from the customer, then he analyze it. Then he push it into the software requirement specification document. So that SRS document is followed some IEEE format. So we have IEEE format IEEE is nothing but in Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineering. It defines some process, some template for gathering the requirements from the customer, and a business analyst is going to be collected and keep it in the SRS format. that has to be finalized in the phase 1 of any SDLC. Phase 1 of any SDLC, that is phase 1. So requirements gathering. Then after that, after requirements are gathered and analyzed, what is the next step in the process model, irrespective of any process model? The second step is, the second phase of any process model is design. Design or model. So the stakeholder who are involved, the stakeholder involved in the designing or modeling of the system is nothing but a solution architect. What is the role of a solution architect? The role of the solution architect, so he has to understand the SRS documents, which is prepared by using any natural language and as converted into the SRS document. The solution architect has to understand the requirements, functional and non-functional requirements, functional requirements and non-functional requirements. As per the software engineering principles, people were saying that non-functional requirements are the non-essential requirements. What it means is, non-functional requirements is going to be talk about the performance of the system, the security of the system, etc. So, as per the software engineering process, so non-functional requirements are non-essential requirements, which is going to be addressed in the other iterations of any software development lifecycle. That we'll discuss in detail later. So the second phase, which is mentioning that a software modeling, a solution architect is going to do. What exactly he does? He understands the requirements, software requirements. Then he apply the modeling languages. Then he convert into the low-level design document or the high-level design document. That is the role of any solution architect. So he prepared the low-level design and high-level design documents, which we call it as a design documents. So the phase 1, the expected outcome is SRS. Phase 2, the expected documents are design documents. Okay. Then the second phase of any process model, the third phase of any process model is the development. Phase 3 is development, or as per the software engineering terminology, we call it as a construction of software or implementation, or different terminologies we can use as per the process model. What is the objective of this phase 3 in software development lifecycle is the stakeholder who are involved. Is the developers, right? So they does the engineering. So the job of the software developers in construction or implementation phase is, they have to understand the requirements given by the customer. Then they have to understand the design documents, which is prepared by the solution architect. Then they start developing source code. So that is the job of the any software developer in the phase 3. Then the phase 4 is testing. What exactly? What is that? The stakeholder involved in phase 4 is testers. What is the prerequisite knowledge for the testers? A tester should have a strong functional domain knowledge, and he should. And what exactly expected to do by the tester is, he has to test the functional behavior of the system. So that is exactly in the testing phase. Development team is developed the software. A tester has to verify whether the system is behaving as per the expected behavior. The expected behavior was mentioned in the SRS document in functional expected behavior. Technical expected behavior is mentioned in the design documents. Which is prepared by the solution architect. The job of the tester is he has to verify and validate the requirements, verify and validate the functional and technical requirements. And that is exactly a tester is going to do. Right. So then, last but not least, a deployment. That is the last phase in any SDLC, deployment. What exactly a deployment engineer will do? So build is prepared, then he deploy into the different environments. In production environment, we have a different type of environments is available. Production environment, development environment, testing environment. There are 3 types of environment is there. So development engineer is developer is going to make a build, but then deployment engineer will push that code into either production environment, which production environment is really, it is a customer is going to be interact with this production environment. Developers are going to interact with the development environment. Testers are used. For testers, we have to create the testing environment. So that is exactly a deployment engineer's job. Those are the different steps or the phases in any process model. Process model follows. Why? What is the need having a different type of process models? We need to understand. What exactly what is a waterfall model? Then what is a RAD model? What is a spiral model? What is a V model? What is incremental model? What is Agile model? Now, the most popular model which the current industry is using, Agile model. Agile model that we'll discuss when this topic is when you are going to discuss. But I want to mention that why Agile models become more popular. The reason is all the as I was mentioning previously, all the stakeholders like a business analyst, a solution architect, a developer and tester. So these are different major stakeholders who are involved in the software development lifecycle. So in other process models, once that one activity is completed, then only other activities is taken care. That is how a project plan is prepared. A project plan is prepared. But in Agile process model, it is a matured model people are talking about. All the stakeholders are going to be involved in from the day one of the project. So, which is going to be helpful to generate better requirements, better modeling. So, the ultimate goal of using any software development cycle is we need to develop a error-free product. So that is our ultimate goal. Whether you use a waterfall model, whether you use a RAD model, whether you use the spiral model, whether you use the V model, or incremental, or Agile, or iterative or prototype model, our ultimate goal is the software product which we are developing, which the stakeholders are developing. It should be the error-free product. That's what the error-free product. That's the reason we may pick any process model. For example, RAD model. In what situations RAD model we recommend? For example, the development time is very less. Means less than 90 days. A customer want the product need to be developed. Then, as per software engineering process, we recommend the RAD model. We recommend the RAD model. So that's why based on the customer need, based on the customer emergency or the priority. So we decide the process model as per the software engineering process, software engineering principles. Priority is nothing but how urgently customer needs. How urgently customer needs. We decide, because the development time is less than 90 days. We recommend strongly the RAD model. So usually the effort of any software development is measured in the man hours. That we of course we will discuss when you are talking about the estimation of the software development. Then spiral model. Why we need a spiral model? So the process which we are going to be done in the repeated way, then we use the spiral model. Then V model. V model is one of the most popular model. If you, what exactly we do is, V is nothing but verification and validation. So verification as per software engineering, the definition of verification is the product is right? Is the product is right? Product is right. Validation is nothing but the product is correct. The product is correct. So it means that V model are recommended in such situations. If you suppose requirements are gathered, then we apply the verification and validation. Are the product is right? So we have to verify and validate. Yes, that's why in all the activities we do verification and validation. So it means that the expected documents which we are prepared, for example, after gathering the requirements, SRS document is prepared. So you have to verify and validate whether the SRS document is having captured all the requirements given by the customer, and it covers all functional, non-functional requirements. Then all the design documents is covering the end-to-end functionality of the software system. Then implementation, right? So implementation, the expected outcome is a pseudocode, right? Pseudocode are the lines of the code. So whether the lines of code is, you have to verify and validate for all the requirements, whether the pseudocode is prepared correctly or not. Then testing. So testing for the, as was mentioning, that testing is nothing but verifying the expected behavior of the system. Expected behavior system is already mentioned in the SRS document. The actual behavior is mentioned we can borrow from the development outcome. Then we compare it, whether both are correct. Then the test case is pass. If both are not correct, then test case is fail. Then it means that there is some logical error, or the functional error will be there. So then he has to fix that error or the bug by the stakeholder who are involved in that. That's how V model is going to be useful. Then incremental model. Why we need to incremental model? Why we have to develop a software into incremental phases? So suppose we develop the software in one phase. Are you really required to develop the software into different increments? Why? What is the need for that? Why? What exactly incremental model is saying that, as per the Roger Pressman? So we have to take it. We have to, when in a software development lifecycle. We have to develop a software product into different increments. Increment 1, increment 2, increment 3. So right. So it means that the build which we are, suppose SRS document. We do it in the increment 1, right? To increment 2, like the design documents, different versions, SRS 1.0, SRS 1.1, SRS 1.2. This is different increments of software requirement specification. The reason is, so initially the customer may be freeze the requirements kept into the SRS 1.1, but based on the customer's need, so some of the requirements are going to be added. Then we'll made it to the SRS 1.1. For example, if you take the login module, initially customer wants only two features. One is submit, and one is cancel. So this is the initial requirement by the customer. But when the product is released to the customer environment, customer wants a reset functionality. In that case, again, the stakeholder who are involved for gathering the requirements is nothing but a business analyst. He gather the requirements for the building the reset functionality. Then we kept into the SRS 1.0. Like 1.1, like that. Similar way in design also, design documents, as which I was mentioning, that design documents is a collection of low-level design document and high-level design document. So when the objective of design or modeling on any process model is, we have to model the system. There are certain languages which we use, modeling language we use. So people now popular unified modeling languages are came. UML, unified modeling languages are came. So even objective-oriented concepts are applied for the UML, objective-oriented analysis and design. So what the ultimate goal of modeling is, how to build a system architecture in such a way that any feature needs, the system architecture has to be accommodated. Let me explain in detail. Suppose initially the system architecture which they build is a two-tier architecture. So we have a client, we have a server. If the load of the software product is improved, so this two-tier architecture is not sufficient to handle the load. Then the system, we have a three-tier architecture. Like client, then server. In between one tier will be there, which we can accommodate the business logics, etc. That we'll discuss in detail comes to the modeling of the design, or the design we have in the fourth unit. So then it is then multi-tier architecture. Then multi-tier architecture, you have a client. Then we have a different tiers. Tiers will be there. So what client server, there are different to accommodate the load. We can use this type of architecture because the load of the load on the software is increasing. Means the number of requests are going to be. If we give the request, then it goes on. Then we'll get the reply. The response time, the beauty of the software design model, software design of the model is, or the system design of the system design. System design is what is the less response time. That's how we can measure the quality of the modeling. So now people are talking about different models. Like we apply the MVC model. The modeling, what is MVC? We'll discuss. MVC is nothing but model, view and control. So what exactly, when you are trying to do the modeling of the system, first we do the modeling of the system, and then we view the system, then we control the system. Now people are talking about how the MVC model is built. To build any system architecture, whether you use a two-tier architecture or a three-tier architecture or multi-tier architecture, the we have to apply, we have to model it, then we have to view it, we have to control it. So that is the design principle. So comes to the incremental model, you may be thinking that why we need to do it in incremental way of modeling. What is the need is, initially any product is developed. So we build the system architecture. Then we apply the different type of design patterns, design styles. Of course, all these details we'll discuss in the module 4, that is a design. Then we apply the different type of design patterns. We apply the different type of design patterns. All those stuff we'll discuss in 4th unit. But is it really required to do the incremental way of modeling? Yes, definitely we have to do it in incremental way of design modeling, right? Design document as well as design document 1.0, design document 1.1, etc. Right? So finally, system architecture is built. Right? Right? So that's why. So in software development lifecycle, one of the process model, it is incremental model. We do it in increments. We do it in the increments, right? That is done. Of course, we discussed about Agile model, brief about it. Then Iterative model, we do it different iterations. We do it into the different iterations. The last but not least is a prototype model. Why we need to build a prototype model is, prototype is nothing but is a working model. It is a working model. Prototype is nothing but is a working model. Why we have to build a working model? The working model, right? It is as per the software engineering process. Customers are expecting the end users are expecting the working model of the system. So it means that before we start developing any software system, as per the software engineering process, we need to build a prototype. So what prototype is really helpful to the customer, how your system is working, end-to-end functionality. So that's the reason customer is insisting us to prepare a prototype before we start developing any software product. So these are the different most popular process models which we use in software development software development. So how do you take a call? Which process model? Is there any thumb rule? Some ex-customer will use only waterfall model. Then we need to analyze, we need to understand each and every process model. Then we need to understand the advantage and disadvantage of each and process model. Then we take a call. Then we can recommend which process model is really helpful to develop a software product. So that's about the process model, the importance of the software process models. Importance of the software model. In next class, we discuss one by one the process model. What are the different steps in each and every process model? Thank you very much.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.